Oh man, YouTube, what's going on? It's K, and I'm here for a new addition to my YouTube channel. I'm gonna call this Spoiler Sundays, where I will watch a particular movie, usually a big budget movie that everybody wants to see, and if it gets enough traction out there, I will talk about it more in detail in a spoiler filled review. And this is the first edition of it. And this right here is Batman vs. Superman Dawn of Justice 2016 film. And if you saw my spoiler free review, which I will put the link in the description below, if you saw that, you know I didn't like this movie. I didn't find it gratifying. I found it kind of lazy, just bad CGI, just a bunch of dialogue, a bunch of story structure that doesn't make any fucking sense with nothing that's going on. So now that I can talk about it in more detail, I can get more graphic about the shit. All right, because I really didn't fucking like this movie, man. So I'm gonna get real indignant with this one. You know what I mean? The biggest spoiler, of course, about this movie is that Superman dies at the end, allegedly. Clark Kent. Well, we see the funeral scene, and the Superman has his own casket, and he's going down Metropolis Street or some shit like that, the American flag, and everybody's like looking on and stuff like that, and then we see another private sort of thing going on with Clark Kent and Smallville, and how they have a little funeral set up for him, and that's really where the body is buried, in Smallville. All of that is cool, but the problem with that shit is that all of that comes at the end of the fucking film. He fights Doomsday, which I still don't even understand how the fuck all that transpired. Like it has something to do with the fact that it opened up a portal or some shit like that. And the Doomsday thing was a creation somewhat of Lex Luger taking all this Kryptonian technology and kind of building a monster out of it, which is Doomsday. And then they fight at the end, Superman Doomsday fight at the end. And that's where the death of Superman happens, just like in the comic books, just like in the story, the death of Superman. Same way. But the problem is, they didn't earn that shit, man. Like a lot of what the problem is with this film is that it tries to do shit that it just didn't earn. It didn't earn the death of Superman storyline yet. They still have to make another. I feel like they still had to make another Superman movie, Man of Steel movie, so I can really understand more about Superman. You know what I mean? With this, you don't get a lot of Superman in this shit. Henry Cavill says literally, I think 100 words in this movie. Like literally, his scenes come in, he says about 15 words, and then the scene cuts to something else. He's having this deep emotional shit with Lois Lane in a tub, and he says about maybe 20 words, and that's just it. The scene is over. It was a lot of that shit going on in the film, man. Henry Cavill, even though I like him personally, he was probably the second weakest link of this whole film. The weakest link, period, is Jesse Eisenberg, which I didn't even get to in my spoiler-free review. I forgot to even mention him as Lex Luger, and the reason why I forgot to mention him is because he's fucking dreadful. He's kind of awful in this film. Like I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Like he's playing some other guy. He ain't playing Lex Luger. When I think of Lex Luger, I think of an older man, late 30s, early 40s, maybe 50s, in his 50s. I don't think of Jesse Eisenberg. Jesse Eisenberg, like he's in his 20s, man. Like he looks way too young. He kind of got he doesn't do it for me, man. Even when they shave his fucking head, at the end of the film, he still looked like Jesse Eisenberg, with a shaved head. He didn't look menacing. Like I couldn't get down with him, man. What else, man? Like I said, the positive stuff about this film is that Ben Affleck is really good as both Bruce Wayne and the Bat. He's really good at that. He's really good at doing both those characters. I felt it. I felt like he was overacting. Not overacting, but acting way better than the material that he was given. Scenes with him and Henry Cavill, you could tell who's the real pro and who really needs to get more acting chops. And speaking of Henry Cavill, even like I said, even though I like him, I'll be honest with you, he was the second weakest link in the film. Mainly because he has no dialogue, but then also because, man, he plays Clark Kent so I don't even know how to describe it. Like, so uncool that it's not even funny. Like, I used to think, after watching this, I have a new appreciation for, like, The Dark Knight Rises, which is a film that, I recommended, but I wasn't head over heels in love with it. But after watching this, I was like, because the problem I had with that film is I thought it was a little too depressing and stuff like that. But when watching this shit, I'm like, that shit was a cakewalk. Like, that wasn't depressing at all. This shit ain't nothing cool about this shit, man. Like, this shit didn't look cool. Like, some of the fights looked cool. Like the main thing that you want to see, Superman and Batman fighting, it looks okay-ish, but it's only for like 4 minutes. And it mostly has to do with the reason why even Batman has a chance is because, he's weaponized some of the what do you call that green stuff? The kryptonite. He's weaponized some of it. So they're seeing where he's fighting Superman. He's like shooting this gun off, which is like, this bullet that spears shrapnel of kryptonite all over, Superman. So then Superman will inhale some of that, and then it will weaken him, and that way, boosh, boosh, Batman can punch him and beat his ass for a couple of seconds. So that was his cheat. That was his cheat code right there. Up, down, left, right. That was his in this movie. Yeah, he's good. Like I said, Jeremy Irons is good. I thought Gal Gadot was. I hope I'm pronouncing her name right. I thought she was good as Wonder Woman. I didn't find her annoying like I thought I was. It's just I don't understand why she's here. Like, I still was a little confused by why exactly she's here. Like, I still didn't really get it, And speaking of why they're here, when I talked about my spoiler-free review, when I talked about the whole crowbarring in other Justice League members, I'm talking about, of course, the scene in this movie where, the files, the computer files shows, these surveillance footages of like these different guys. Like, we see the Flash doing his thing, we see Gal Gadot doing her thing, we see Cyborg doing his thing, we see Aquaman doing his thing. To me, that was really forced in, man. That shit was forced in with no lube. Like, that was just crazy the way they forced that one in. Like, I couldn't get down with that shit. It's just throwing them in. Just, we need to put these people in here so, the DC fanboys will get off our backs. So let's just throw this shit in there. Like, why? If you didn't have a good enough reason to put something in there, then don't put it in there. You know what I mean? And that's the problem with this film. They didn't have good enough reasons to do what the fuck they were doing, man. I still don't understand why they went with that Death to Superman shit at the end. That shit is just bugging the hell out of me because it's like, well, where do we go from here? You know, it's just, I don't know, man. I don't know. Yeah, but like I said, man, you know, there were some scenes that were okay to look at because, quite frankly, I like Zack Snyder's vision most of the time. Even in his bad films, I like his visual style. You know, I liked Man of Steel a lot. I liked Watchmen. I liked 300. So I like his visual style, and I think there were times when he got to play with that and put on the visual style stuff, but then there was other times where he didn't, you know. And speaking of visual styles and stuff like that, I forgot to mention this also in my spoiler free review because I try not to say nothing in that review just so I can have something to talk about right now. But the fucking dream sequences in this film were fucking awful. Not only were they awful, they didn't make no sense. I know there's fanboys, you know, on the internet that's saying how this ties it to something else bigger than what I can imagine. Well, fuck that. I don't care that it ties in. You didn't explain it. Listen, I'm not here reading every fucking comic book, all right? You know, so the fact that it's not being explained by the filmmakers of this film, you know, leads me to just say fuck it. You know, I'm not gonna try to go out of my way to read one of these comic books and that's the part where they got this from, or that's the part where they got this from. Oh, and it's gonna all tie in. Fuck the tie-in shit. Just make one good movie, man. Y'all always want to tie in some shit, man. Like, you know, man, I guess Marvel is the reason for this, man. Everybody want to tie in some shit, man. Just make a good fucking movie, man. Please make a good movie. And that's the problem with this shit. This shit wasn't good. The CGI in this film too is another thing that kind of just bugged me. And we could talk about Doomsday all day, cause I thought he looked like a bag of ass in this film. But honestly, I thought some of the shots of the Batmobile looked fucking horrible. Like, not even bad, just horrible. Like, there's the scene where the Batmobile is going into the cave, and all the water and the way the Batmobile looked, that shit looked cartoonish, and that shit looked like some bad CGI. It looked like just some first rate CGI, not even first rate, like second rate, third rate tier shit. Like, it looked bad. I was like, wow, this looks really bad. Man, like the first hour of this film, I was fucking bored. Like, and I couldn't believe that in 2016 I would go to a Superman versus Batman movie and I would be completely out of it by like the first hour of the film, knowing that there's another hour and 20 minutes left and nothing is grabbing my interest at all. Nothing was looking cool. Like, I don't know. I thought the only thing that kind of looked cool was the first scene that we see of Batman. He's like fighting these, I don't know, he's doing his vigilante thing, and he's like posted up, like there's cops that's coming in with guns, and he's like, Batman's like posted up on the wall, like just posted up, like on top of next to the ceiling. And that looked cool. Like, the Batman shit looked cool. Like, this should have just been a Batman movie. That's the biggest thing. That's the biggest fucking problem with this film, man. Now that I think about it. Because the Batman stuff looked good. It looked good. The Batman stuff looked good. It's just, Superman didn't need to be here, man. And the thing about it is, the reason why I'm saying Superman didn't need to be here is because I already seen his story. There seemed to be nothing more that we could do with Superman. Like, that's what this movie made me feel like there's nothing more we can do with this Superman guy. But the Batman guy, we can explore some shit. Like, there's things that I want to know about him, man. He's 20 years in the game by this time. They say that he's been doing this for 20 years. So there's things that I want to know about him, man. Just never got a chance to, man. I like most of the costume design of him. The iron suit and which, by the way, maybe I missed the part where they was talking about how they was gonna create this iron suit, but or why he needed it in the first place. I know why he needs it to fight Superman, but I don't know. I maybe I missed the part where it was being discussed, his iron suit. Maybe I missed that part because maybe I was knocked out sleeping. But yeah, it is what it is. It is what it is. Just mediocre. Some people, a mediocre film. To me, it was a little bit below a mediocre film. A little bit below. It was definitely some moments that caught my attention that I was kind of intrigued by, and then but most of the time watching this film, I was just out of it. Yeah, I was just out of it. I was out of it. I was bored. I was bored a lot during this movie. That's the shocking thing about this film. That's the biggest shocking thing about this film is how many times I just almost fell asleep watching this. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. Like, really bored at times. Like, painfully bored watching some of this. Fanboys, I guess you're gonna like what you're gonna like. You're gonna like this regardless of what I gotta say. But I'm just keeping it real. Like, for me, it was the most disappointing movie I ever saw in my life. It's right there with Phantom Menace, if you ask me, as most disappointing movie that I've ever experienced in my life. So yeah, that's my spoiler talk thoughts on Batman versus Superman: Dawn of Justice. What are your thoughts? All right, let me know. Share them. Comment below. Let me know what you thought about the movie. Did you like it? Did you not like it? Am I an asshole for not liking it as much as you did? Anything, man. Comment below. Let me know. All right. Like and subscribe to my channel. I'm K, and I'm out.